представи една много интересна тема. Темата е феминизъм и защо без женски ценности няма как да има успешна революция. Тя е част от SWIP, Society for Women in Philosophy в Австрия. Това е една феминистка организация, нали, за учените там. И също така тази година излезе една статия, нейна научна статия в една книга на немски пак. Тя е бакалавър по антропология, бакалавър по философия и очакваме да стане докторант по политология. И гордея се да я представя като една част от Varna Institute на МИР. И тази лекция ще се води на английски. След това Божин Троянов от Дверсия ще ви каже на български, нали, кратко резюмирано за какво Мариеле говореше. И сега без много коментари предавам думата на Mariele Friesacher.
Merci. Hello everyone. So today I'm going to talk about why there will be no revolution without men in pretty dresses. So what is it about? Yeah? I'm going to surprise you, hopefully. So today I shall argue why a revolution fails from a feminist perspective. What happens in a revolution? What patterns do we usually see? Well, violence and male values are often dominant in a revolution. But how so? While there's a rise in peaceful protest, as we heard in the lecture yesterday, the historic core of revolution is typical patriarchal behavior. We all know these pictures of protesters throwing things at policemen and policewomen and setting random items just on fire. Another problem is that women's rights are also getting delayed. Women are often told, we solve your problems after the revolution. So what we know also from past revolutions is that women's rights are not be taken seriously, or as a part of the problem we're actually trying to fight. So within the revolution we often produce the same patriarchal structures and patterns that we want to fight against. So this behavior is very patriarchal and is repeating the patterns of the system we are trying to fight right in that moment. So this leads me to the conclusion that you can actually never beat a change if you are an ally to patriarchy. So the term patriarchy gets thrown around a lot, but what exactly is the patriarchy? If you look it up in a dictionary, I did it on Merriam-Webster, it says like, social organization marked by the supremacy of the father in the clan or family, the legal dependence of wives and children, and the reckoning of descent and inheritance in the male line, or broadly, controlled by men of a disproportionately large share of power. What we usually see in a patriarchy, we are living in a patriarchal society right now, is that male traits are more valued than female traits. Now, of course, in most societies, there is no visible supremacy of the father anymore. But there is still a preference for maleness, right? So, parents often wish for a son as an heir to the throne. So why is that? Or men taking up most of the well-paid jobs while women are paid less, or women's work is even invisible, like their work they do in the household. So it's those structures that are causing a lot of trouble in the world, and on an even bigger scale. If you look at wars, or the way the military works, if you look at politicians and what people admire them for, it's oftentimes their unapologetic behavior when it comes to exercise their power. With all the changes in the 20th and the 21st century, we still have gender as the one battleground that we better not fight against. This leads me to the next question. What actually is gender? What is the meaning of gender? Judith Butler, a famous academic feminist, says gender is performative. What does that mean? She says, we act as if that being a man or that being of a woman is actually an internal reality or something that is simply true about us, a fact about us. But actually, it's a phenomenon that is being produced all the time and reproduced all the time. So to say gender is performative is to say that nobody really is a gender from the start. But what does all of this has to do with men changing their clothing or their behavior? Let's move on. This is my first example of 5. So this pose and outfit, the jeans, the t-shirts, the sneakers, we used to see every day on the streets, right? Nothing special at all. So let's see the next example. So there it gets already a little bit difficult because both of them are wearing a unisex shirt. A unisex shirt is a shirt that both men and women can pursue and wear. So the difference lies in the way the shirt is advertised. One side acts very feminine, while the other side acts pretty normal. Maybe you already see where I'm going with this. So what does that mean? Let's move on to the next one. The first one is an actual advertisement of an American burger restaurant, and on the other side you see the mocking of this advertisement. So why does one look pretty common but the other one kind of funny? A lot of people would argue it is just advertising, don't mind, don't care, but is it really just advertising? What I'm trying to tell you is that we have a specific picture in our minds when we think of male or female. And the picture in our mind are not something we are born with. It is something that society taught us. As Judith Butler argued, we are performing our gender each and every day. And the first picture is just a product of society itself. If you think of gender as performative, you can also think of the way you get up in the morning, you take your toothbrush. Is your toothbrush pink or maybe blue or black? What kind of breakfast do you choose to eat? Or what kind of dress do you wear? What kind of outfit? Like jeans, t-shirts? Do you wear a skirt? That all is performative. In this example, I show you men in Turkey protesting in February 2017 against the ongoing femicide in Turkey. Femicide means the murdering of women caused by their ex-partners or even their current partners. And they are wearing skirts in solidarity. What we see here is not only that men are protesting in skirts, we see the meaning that is attached to the skirts. Skirts or short, pretty dresses are oftentimes used to judge the behavior of female human beings. No wonder she was raped for wearing that short skirt, right? Doesn't she respect herself enough to dress properly? We all know these questions and these conversations. But pretty dresses are also used to judge men who won't conform to traditional masculinity. And I will show you this right now. Again, the picture on the one side looks pretty common. Someone who wears a pretty green dress. But we are tempted to laugh at the other one. Why? When we look at the man, the famous Iggy Pop by the way, attributes come to our mind like gay, weak, ridiculous. We have trouble seeing him as masculine, a strong man. This has to do with our perception of femininity, with the female gender. Although they are dressed almost the same, we judge depending on if we see a man or a woman dressed like this. In reality, there is no reasonable argument as to why men should not wear this pretty dress. Let's do a quick comparison. If we go back to the first picture, they are wearing almost identical outfits, and so did the two people in the last slide. What we should think about is, why do we feel this way? Why does the guy in the dress bother us, but not the girl in jeans and t-shirt? But Mr. Iggy Pop had some words of wisdom for us. He said, I'm not ashamed to dress like a woman, because I don't think it's shameful to be a woman. This kind of thinking, to think it's shameful to be feminine or a woman, has its roots in sexism. But are you guilty of sexism? How will you know? For example, if you devalue female character traits. If you look down on women for what they do for a living, maybe they work as a hairdresser, maybe they work in childcare or even in prostitution. If you look down on a woman for how they dress or what they like to talk about. If you find it perfectly normal that women are competing against one another, not for the sake of a job or accomplishment, but just for the sake of a man. You think women should be, act, look and participate in a certain way. And these are just a few examples. So the most important question of the day is, how can you change it? And maybe make some small revolution happen. Like Judith Butler said, power is not stable or static, but is remade at various junctures within everyday life. Moreover, social transformation occurs not merely by rallying mass numbers in favor of a cause, but precisely through the ways in which daily social relations are rearticulated and new conceptual horizons opened up by anomalous and subversive practices. So, I have some homework, not for the women, because women had already done their homework, but for the men. So dear men, you have some work to do with feminism. And I'll give you just a few examples. Dare to wear that pretty dress, or a nice looking skirt. Don't be afraid to buy that sweet fragrance in the women's aisle at the shop. Embrace weakness, feeling helpless sometimes. Learn to cook delicious meals that you and others you love to eat. Cuddle up with and care for your children and take them everywhere with you. And yeah, I mean even to your workplace. Learn what you really like against all expectations of society. So I want to give you a quick summary of what we talked about today. First, I argued that the revolution is often led by men, and therefore male values are reenacted, and the system is just reenacted, and they will not be changed. Patriarchy will not be threatened by acting like a man, but by how we break stereotypes of gender. And I ask you dearly to work against it by wearing that pretty dress. Thank you very much.